Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. There was a lot of questioning about whether we would actually get any Christmas battle forces this year from GW. Things like the pandemic and supply issues and all that sort of stuff made a lot of people think that perhaps we just weren't going to be getting any. But of course we were mistaken, and GW did announce last week that they would be showing off the Christmas boxes this Thursday, which is today. And indeed, they have. There are 6 40k boxes to look forward to, so let's dive right into it and take a look at these boxes and then have a quick chat about what is in them, possible price points, and also possible savings. Now, we don't know the price for these just yet. Last year the boxes tended to sit around the £120 to £125 mark, if I remember correctly, and that, based on the average cost of these new boxes, could well be accurate this year as well, although it being GW, I also wouldn't be super surprised if there was a slight price bump for these this year. I hesitate to say as high as 150, but again, this is GW, you never know. In either case, I would imagine personally, just now having looked at the boxes, they will mostly go for around the £125 to £140-ish figure, so even at that point, you do get some pretty decent savings. First up, we have of course the Space Marines, and these guys have the brand new Shieldbreaker strike force, and in this you get a Primaris Captain, 3 Blade Guard veterans, an awesome mix of 10 Intercessors, 10 Assault Intercessors and 5 Heavy Intercessors, and then some very welcome backup in the form of a Storm Speeder, which can of course be built as any of the variants. It comes to a total of around £210 from the GW website, so it is going to be a decent saving even if the boxes do have a higher £140 price tag, and it does get you a lot of models and a lot of infantry models for the price. In my opinion, it is actually a really nice new starter army for maybe a new Marine player who wants to make that solid, reliable base foundation of his force that they can then add to later. And whilst it may not be the best for someone that already has, a huge 5k point army or something, all of the stuff in this box is honestly a great solid foundation for a new player, whether they're new to Space Marines or new to the hobby in general, and that is, I guess, the ideal target for these Christmas boxes. Up next we have the Sisters of Battle Purgatus mission, which is very much a switch on the balanced infantry loadout of the previous Marines box. This one focuses a lot more on heavy armor and artillery, and in this box you get a Dogmata, who leads 5 Sacrosants, 10 Sisters, an Immolator, and the very heavy Exorcist tank to rain fire down on your enemies. This box comes in retail price at a bit cheaper at £185, so personally I would expect this to sit around the £125 price point and not much higher than that. Unlike the Marine box, this one is definitely a bit more focused at someone I think that maybe has some Sisters of Battle already, maybe a box or 2 of the Combat Patrol, but now needs some extra support and some extra firepower to really boost their army to that next level. It does give you a genuinely solid amount of ranged and melee punch, and definitely fits in very nicely with the other units that you get from the Combat Patrol to get this combined overall balanced army. Finishing up the third of the Imperium focus boxes, we have the gorgeous Adamek bringing up the rear, and once again I think this box, the Omnissiah's Talon, is a great addition to the Combat Patrol and gives you access to a few more of the perhaps more esoteric and less seen units that you might want to think about getting once you've got that basic foundation from the Combat Patrol for your Adamek army. And in this box you have a Tech Priest Manipulus leading a brilliant little combined arms force of 5 Taraxi, 5 Ruststalkers, 3 Cerberus Raiders, an Iron Strider Ballistarii, and then 10 Skitarii Rangers to fill out the bodies of the box, I suppose. Like the Sisters, this comes to around the £185 price mark, so again, I do think this is probably going to be sitting around £125 when these Christmas boxes do go up for sale, giving you a pretty decent saving of, in my rough opinion, about £60 odd, which seems, I think, to be a pretty good estimate of the amount of savings they would want to give to kind of persuade people to get these boxes, and pretty much gets you, at least a few of the units that you get in these boxes essentially free of charge. On the more chaotic front now, we move to the Plague Fester Warband of the Death Guard, and this one really does fill that image of the slow, unstoppable march of the Plague Companies of Nurgle. It has a very cool theme and honestly is one of my favourite boxes out of this entire lot. With a champion and an icon bearer leading the ponderous charge, I suppose, you get 7 Plague Marines, 3 Death Shroud Terminators, 3 Blight Haulers, and the enormous artillery of the Plague Burst Crawler to back you up. And once again, this comes in at around £185, and I think you can start to see a bit of a pattern here, with essentially an estimate of £60 saving. If this comes in again at £125, you will basically be getting the Plague Burst Crawler and one of the Blight Haulers for absolutely free. Overall, I really like this box. It's very cool, it's got a great set of units, and it's also, I think perhaps more so than the others, really thematic in my opinion. Following on from that, the new and now much improved thanks to the recent core changes, Necrons are back with another box as well. And this one is very appropriately named, given the units inside, the World Scour Legion. And this one essentially is just here to kill all living things on a planet. And to carry out that task, we have got a Psychomancer Cryptek leading 10 Necron Warriors and 3 Scarab Swarms, a Locust Heavy Destroyer, 3 Ophidian Destroyers, 5 Flayed Ones, and not 1 but 2 Doomstalkers to really pound the living creatures of a planet into dust. Again, I do think this is a fantastically themed box, and really, for me personally, gives me some of those brilliant War of the Worlds vibes, so I am really here for this box as well. And this one does actually come in at a slightly higher point of 190, so I could maybe see this box going for maybe £130 on GW's website, so slightly more than the £125 I'm expecting for the others. And I mean, let's be honest, it's still very good value, basically getting you both of those Doomstalkers, 2 of the coolest models ever, for absolutely free. So once again, if you want to scour the planets of all life, then perhaps the Necrons box is a good one for you to get. And I think also, if you have maybe got the Indomitus starter set or the Necrons Combat Patrol, this is a great way to add on to that. And given that this box only gets you 1 troops choice, I do think that this combined with, say, the Combat Patrol is going to get you a really brilliant, probably around 1500 point Necron list to bring to the battlefield. Finally, we have one of the newest boys on the block, the Great Green Tide of the Orcs, and despite only having just had releases in their Beast Snaggers box and the new Combat Patrol, it looks like they are back for even more. This box is again pretty fantastic, I think, for a new player, getting you a good solid amount of troops, a great couple of HQs, and also a really nice flyer thrown into the mix as well. The Kildaka Warband is led by a Deathkiller Wartrike and is backed up by a mech with a shock attack gun, and they are leading a motley crew of 5 Knobs, 20 of the brand new Orc Boys, and 10 Gretchen with a runt herd to keep them all in line. And then we have the excellent Dakajet kit to finish it all off, which as an extra little bonus will probably be the full kit, so actually you get the option to build any of the 4 Orc Flyers and still have a load of extra parts and sprues and bits to stick on to the rest of your new Orc models. Now this box actually only comes to £175 with the current pricing, but I'm assuming that's because on the GW website you can only buy the old boys kit, and when the new boys get their eventual individual release they will probably be a bit more expensive, so I'm thinking that £185 is again going to be roughly the price that this box would come to if you could buy the Orc Boys separately. And so once again, a £125 price point is what I am expecting for this box as well. And like I said, this one goes great with the brand new Orcs Combat Patrol, getting you a huge amount of boys and some really fun, cool units to play around with things like the Deathkiller Wartrike and the Flyer as well. I would argue it's maybe not the most competitive box going, or even the most competitive out of the boxes here, but it is honestly a fantastic way for a new player to get started with an Orc list and get some experience painting not only the huge number of boys that you may need to paint, but also some of their wild, zany variety of models that are available to you if you play Orcs. Overall, I think these boxes are okay. They're very good in general, I think, for new players, and will really act as a brilliant starter point, possibly alongside one of the brand new combat patrols, to get a very solid basic foundation for a good 1500 point army or so. And if they are around that £125 mark, or maybe 140 for the Marines, then I do think they are going to sell pretty damn well. For about 200 odd pound, you can get yourself a really quite solid Marine or Sisters of Battle or Adamek or Death Guard or Necron or Orc 1500 point list. And we will be taking a closer look at each box in a later video to go through the exact points and detailed costs and everything like that. But for now, I have to say, they're not the most exciting boxes going, but I do think they are very good, and I think from a GW sales perspective, they make sense in trying to entice new players into the hobby, as well as giving people that maybe just want to start, you know, a new army in the new year, like a new Necron army in the new year or whatever, a good place to get things started. But what do you think? Do you like these new Christmas boxes, or would you have preferred to have seen either some other units or maybe some other armies represented instead? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me. But until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.